Hello, I'm Dan Rather. Welcome to the CBS Evening News Online Edition. Just ahead, a CBS News exclusive. Highly classified intelligence reveals new al-Qaeda leaders. Also, who won the debate? We take a high-tech survey of those all-important uncommitted voters. And possibly the most spectacular car chase and shootout ever caught on tape. It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News Online Edition. A top al-Qaeda terrorist aimed new threats at America and its allies today in a message carried by an Arabic news channel. U.S. intelligence suspects Osama bin Laden's original network may no longer be capable of a major attack on the U.S., but a new and even more threatening al-Qaeda may be emerging. CBS's David Martin has the exclusive inside story.
The audio tape from Ayman al-Zawahiri is almost certainly authentic and entirely predictable, calling on Muslims everywhere to attack Americans and anyone else supporting the war in Iraq. At one point, Osama bin Laden's right-hand man says, "We cannot wait or we will be eaten up country by country." Some analysts heard that as a note of desperation from the number 2 man in an organization that has been under relentless attack for 3 years.
The terrorist organization which carried out the 9/11 attacks has been badly damaged. But a just completed and highly classified intelligence report identifies 16 new al-Qaeda leaders who have emerged to run a network that looks very different from the one America went to war against.
Bin Laden and Zawahiri are still at the top, but virtually the entire second tier of the leaders on 9/11 has been captured or killed. U.S. intelligence has identified a new second tier of 8 men. One of them is Abu Musa al-Zarqawi, who is behind many of the beheadings and suicide bombings in Iraq. Although Zarqawi's group operates under a different name, the CIA has identified 9 other members of al-Qaeda working with him in Iraq and now considers him an al-Qaeda leader. But al-Qaeda stretches far beyond Iraq. The 21 leaders in al-Qaeda's third tier are spread from Pakistan to South Africa. As for bin Laden, he is believed to be somewhere along Pakistan's border with Afghanistan. Some U.S. officials expect him to release an audio or videotape before the November elections, if he's still alive and in good health. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
An estimated 62 million television viewers watched all or part of the Bush-Kerry joint appearance, about 16 million more than saw the first Bush-Gore face-off 4 years ago. Among those tuning in last night, uncommitted voters, a key group that could help swing the election. Some of them took part in a high-tech CBS News poll. CBS's Anthony Mason has the findings for you.
From Costa Mesa, California, to Canby, Indiana, to Green Bay, Wisconsin. More than 200 uncommitted voters watched the debate and, moment by moment, registered their reactions on a sliding scale. 43% scored John Kerry the winner. Marilla Hannon was among them.
I was really impressed with John Kerry, and I had not necessarily been that impressed with him.
She wasn't alone. More than half of the fence-sitting voters we surveyed said their opinion of Kerry changed for the better last night. Before the debate, only 14% thought Kerry had a clear plan for Iraq. Now, 52% think so.
And I believe our troops need other allies helping.
As the meter showed, Kerry's approval ratings rose the most when he attacked the Bush administration's planning of the war.
But we didn't need to rush to war without a plan to win the peace.
Those words resonated with Richard Edwards in Canby, Indiana.
I have to kind of agree that we rushed the war. And that's why I was kind of negative about President Bush.
What I won't do is change my core values.
President Bush moved the meter highest when he reiterated his resolve.
The world is safer without Saddam Hussein.
Women voters found Kerry more likable. Watch the meters as they respond far more positively than men to Kerry here.
This president thought it was more important to give the wealthiest people in America a tax cut rather than invest in homeland security.
Still, more women think President Bush can be trusted to protect the country from a terrorist attack, by 62 to 52%.
And that ends tonight's debate.
When it was over and our uncommitteds were asked to make a choice, by 38 to 31%, they chose Kerry. But nearly a third were like John Lutz.
And I still haven't really made a full commitment on where I am.
This was a scientific sample of swing voters, the very voters who could sway this election. Last night, most did not change their opinion of President Bush. But while the president may not have lost any ground, it appears John Kerry gained some.
A court in western Montana has just released dramatic police camera video of a highway chase that ended with the capture of a murderer now serving life in prison. As CBS's Bill Whitaker shows you, the climax of the chase was as wild as anything dreamed up in Hollywood.
You almost can't believe your eyes. A Montana highway patrolman's dashboard camera catches the heart-pounding conclusion of a deadly rampage and high-speed chase. Look again, the perpetrator firing away right up to the end. You even see his gun fly into the air. It all began when 46-year-old George Davis sped away after killing a man and wounding 6 others outside a western Montana saloon. He then wounded an officer who tried to pull him over. With police right on his tail, Davis ran for 6 hours across 3 counties, reaching 100 miles per hour, at one point slamming on his brakes to stop a pursuing deputy. He then jumped out of his car and opened fire.
Get on the ground!
Officers fired back, but in the smoke and confusion, Davis took off again. Up the road, other officers laid out a spike strip.
Watch out!
Davis blew out his tires, spun around, then opened fire again. That's when the deputy broadsided him. This week, Davis was sentenced to life in prison for shooting the deputy sheriff.
I deliberately tried to kill him.
His 11th life sentence for this crime spree, convicted by the courts, caught by the videotape. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
More stories are just a click away. But don't forget to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Monday, the Patriot Act. It's meant to help law enforcement fight the war on terror, and in some ways it does, but does it go too far? Where the presidential candidates stand on this in the CBS election series, What Does It Mean to You? For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.